Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
It was advertised as the half hour of high adventure, Escape, as it was originally broadcast June 30th, 1950, Bloodbath. And we thank you for tuning in on this Thursday. This is the 30th day of June, 181st day of the year, 184 days remaining until we get to the end of the year. A powerful natural explosive from an unknown cause rocked the Tuzunga Basin in eastern Siberia on this date in 1908, flattening hundreds of square miles of forest and resulting in tremors that could be felt hundreds of miles away. It was thought to be a meteor, but nobody really knows. Now, it was on this date in 1921. President Warren G. Harding appointed former President William Howard Taft Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Adolf Hitler secured his position in the Nazi Party on this date in 1934 by a blood purge, ridding the party of other leaders such as Ernest Röhm and Kurt von Schlichter. Margaret Miller's Gone with the Wind published on this date in 1936. In 1950, President Truman ordered U.S. ground forces into the Korean conflict, and in 1953, the first production Corvette built at the General Motors facility in Flint, Michigan.
They call her Corvette, and she belongs to the highway just for the sheer and simple joy of driving, for the open road and the country byway, for Mr. and Mrs. America in a carefree mood. Boy, what a car.
A 1954 Corvette commercial voiced by NBC Today's show host Dave Garroway. In 1971, the 26th Amendment, which lowered the national voting age to 18 from 21, was ratified by the states.
Some 11 million young men and women who have participated in the life of our nation through their work, their studies, and their sacrifices for its defense are now to be fully included in the electoral process. For more than 20 years, I have advocated the 18-year-old vote. I heartily congratulate our young citizens on having gained this right.
President Nixon congratulating the newly enfranchised voters. In 1985, President Reagan announced the release of American hostages from Lebanon.
The 39 Americans held hostage for 17 days by terrorists in Lebanon are free, safe, and at this moment on their way to Frankfurt, Germany. They'll be home again soon.
The president announced that the U.S. would fight back against terrorists for attacks on American citizens and property. The remains of a Vietnam War serviceman buried in the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, identified on this date in 1998 as those of Air Force pilot Michael J. Blassie. And it was on this date back in 2019 that President Trump became the first sitting president to visit the Democratic Republic, People's Republic of Korea, North Korea. Passing away on this date in history, inventor Lee DeForest, who had a lot to do with the development of radio, the inventor of the Twinkie, James DeWar.
As America's favorite snack cake, the Twinkie stands alone. Twinkie!
Sweet sensation!
James DeWar, the inventor of the Twinkie, passing away on this date in 1985. Spanky McFarlane from the Our Gang comedies, passing away on this date as well as Mr. Mooney and Osgood Conklin. Gail Gordon passing away on this date. The fine guitarist Chet Atkins passing away, and the very funny Buddy Hackett also passing away on this date in history. A couple of pro wrestlers born on this date that are no longer with us, Man Mountain Dean and Ed Strangler Lewis. Also actress Susan Hayward, actress Lena Horne, magician Harry Blackstone, and Florence Ballard of the Supremes, all born on this date. The Ted Knight's wife in Too Close for Comfort, Nancy Dussault, is 86. Some more pro wrestlers. Terry Funk, born on this date. We hope he is doing well. He is 78 years old, and his health has not been the best. We wish him the best. Steve Rhodes on Married with Children, David Garrison. From In Living Color and Jumanji, David Allen Greer, 66. From Men in Black and Full Metal Jacket, Vincent D'Onofrio is 63. Mike Tyson in wonderful shape for being 56 years old. That man looks amazing. Patch Adams Saw, head over heels actress Monica Potter, 51, and a couple of more wrestlers to round out the list. Alicia Fox is 36 years old, and one of the founders of All Elite Wrestling, and now back in World Wrestling Entertainment. And we wish him the best because of that horrific injury. Cody Rhodes, 37 years old. Those some of the people celebrating the 30th day of June as their birthday, the last day of the month of June. And if this is your birthday...
Hi, we're the Four Freshmen, and we just want to say... Happy birthday to you.
We're going back 72 years, June 30th, 1950. Bloodbath, starring Vincent Price, an episode of Escape on this Thursday, Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
You ever make a change and then think, why didn't I do this years ago? Well, that's how people feel about switching to Medishare for their health care, especially now with inflation the way it is. People are very happy with the savings. Most families save about $500 a month when they switch. It's a huge help when prices are going up so fast in so many other areas. And Medishare's customer satisfaction rate is double that of health insurance. It's just a different experience, and people really like that. Medishare is an alternative to health insurance. It's a community of Christians who share each other's healthcare bills, and it's been going strong for over 25 years. It really is the gold standard, the most trusted name in healthcare sharing. Find out why people love it, find out why they rave about the customer service, and find out how good it feels to save some money right now. They're super easy to talk to. Here's the number, 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE, 833-34-BIBLE.
Vincent Price had an amazing place in classic radio. He did so many. He was even the saint, Simon Templar on radio. But today you're going to hear him at his horrific best. An episode of Escape from 72 years ago, June 30th, 1950. This episode entitled Bloodbath.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Escape, brought to you by your Richfield gasoline dealer and the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York. Marketers of Richfield gasolines with Xylene, Rich Lube, all-weather motor oil, and other famous petroleum products. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps.
Tonight, we escape to the jungles of South America and a seething tale of terror and violence, as told by James Poe in Bloodbath, starring Mr. Vincent Price.
By portaging the rapids and walking the mules in the shallower stretches, we'd managed to get our supplies and equipment more than 1,700 miles up the river. After this, further navigable passage being impossible, we'd traveled by foot, hacking our way through the thick, steaming jungle, coaxing and goading the heavily laden beasts. We'd left the jungle and begun the climb. 11 days later, high in the Andes, we found our objective, and we set to work, hard work. And then, on a hazy afternoon in late May, we found it. I shall never forget the scene. Below us, the mountains swung down to the jungle which stretched eastward, far as the eye could see. The peaks above us had cut off the setting sun, and the light had a curious violet quality. The dank, chill wind, whispering and gusting, set the sparse timber scrubs to trembling and shuddering, and the mules, disdainful of their 5 strange masters, foraged the cacti and dwarf pine. The instruments were set up and the specimens were at hand, and now, crouched and tense, we leaned forward.
How about it, Hess?
Wait. The tube's got to warm up. Come on.
Wait, will you?
I've waited 5 years for this moment.
500, you mean? 5 million. Come on, Hesse. How about it, Hess?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Give him the sample, O'Brien.
Yeah, here. Come on, baby.
Shut up, will you? Shh. Here goes. Switch on. Holy cow. Good. It's fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah?
Come on, Hesse. What's the word?
Yeah, Hesse, give.
Gentlemen. Unless this machine is busted, unless this Geiger counter has forgotten its multiplication table, we have discovered the richest lode of uranium ore known to man.
I won't go into the details of how we'd come to locate the ore, because that's a story in itself. Suffice it to say that late in the afternoon of that hazy May day, the 5 of us, gamblers all, came to the end of our rainbow, found our pot of gold.
The vein runs all the way up the side of the mountain.
Must be worth $1 million.
$1 million, $1 billion.
$1 trillion. Do you boys realize what we've got here?
Sure we do.
We've got the world at our feet. Why, the man who gets the strike registered in his name can be a king. Every country in the world is going to come running up to him with trunks full of money and power.
You tell him, Hesse.
Power?
Yeah, we'll make the United States the most powerful nation on earth.
Why the United States?
Oh, you wouldn't sell to anybody else, would you?
I'm a businessman, Harris.
You're a fool.
No. I'm a businessman.
$1 trillion.
Oh, gents, we've got the world at our feet. Split 5 ways.
The world at our feet, split 5 ways. That night, as I lay huddled under my thin blanket, I wondered what it would be like, being a wealthy man. Wondered if it were really true. Wondered how it would affect the others, how it would affect me. In the morning, we were to set off on the long return journey down to the jungle and through the jungle to the launch and down the river to civilization. There, we'd register our claim, purchase, if need be, the land, lease it perhaps from the government. Oh, millionaires, world at our feet. Uranium, enough to blow up the whole universe. Power.
Harris, wake up.
What's
wake up,
time?
Harris, wake up.
Oh, good morning, millionaire.
Weems, wake up.
The sun's coming up. Hey, where are the others?
They've gone.
Gone?
Yes, Dumont and O'Brien. They took the mules and most of the food and cut out.
When?
How do I know when? Sometime during the night.
But why?
Why? $1 trillion, that's why.
Oh, no.
Once they get down to the jungle, they'll have to travel on foot. There's 10 days' march to the river. If they beat us to the boat, we're stuck with 1,500 miles of jungle between us and safety.
15? Impossible. We'd never make 100.
That's right. We've got to catch 'em, or we're dead.
We traveled as lightly as possible. It was a risky business, doubly so because O'Brien and Dumont had taken our guns with them. The only weapons we had between us were 1 long machete and 2 pocket knives. These would be of little protection against jaguars, bushmasters, tapirs, boa constrictors, and the rest of it. Fortunately, they'd left our number 1 necessity to survival. They'd forgotten to take our quinine. This and our food was all we carried. The long descent to the jungle was slow going on foot. It was here that we nearly gave up hope. We moved as fast as we could, but we were no match for men who were riding. But we reached the jungle. Then things took a better turn. Here the thick vines and heavy undergrowth was, we knew, almost an impossible hazard for a riding man. And we could see their boot prints mingled with those of the mules. We knew that they were having trouble, too. The animals were afraid of many things in the jungle, would balk suddenly, require careful handling. We pushed ahead as rapidly as possible, battling mosquitoes, pume flies, matucas, and the blood-sucking carpato ticks, and, of course, the jungle itself with its never-ending barrage of razor grasses, needle vines, swamps, bog traps, and so forth. It was hot, stinking hot, and the going was hard, but we had to make it. We couldn't travel at night. They'd taken our flashlights. We'd bundle up as best we could, protecting ourselves not from the cold. It was hot and muggy even at dawn, but from the mosquitoes. And as we progressed towards the river area, from the bats, vampire bats. Ever seen them? They're small, rather fragile-looking little things. By day they hang, heads down from the trees, wings folded like clusters of rotten fruit. By night, they hunt. They have razor-sharp teeth, bite like the finest steel scalpels. Their object is to break the skin very delicately, start the blood to coming, and then they simply hang on and sip. Without mosquito netting, we had a rough time of it, a sleepless time. But we managed to keep on going. And on the third day...
It's no use, fellas. We can't make it to the river before them.
We've got to, Weemsy. We've got to make it.
Right, Weems.
And even if we do catch up, they got the guns.
Shh.
Huh? What are you stopping?
Quiet. I heard something.
What did you hear?
Shh.
Gunfire.
Yeah. Come on. They can't be more than a mile or two ahead. Come on.
We ran through the jungle, following the fresh marks of the animals and the two men. And a half an hour or so later, we broke into a little clearing, and there was Dumont.
Dumont.
He's dead.
Shot in the back.
Good old Obie.
Sweet guy, that Obie.
Here, come on. Let's turn him over.
He's really been sweating, huh?
Yeah.
It's malaria. You see his face?
Good old Obie.
And Dumont came down with malaria, probably started to slow him down.
Sweet guy, that Obie.
Come on, let's go.
They should have remembered the quinine.
I got no sympathy for Dumont.
You know what'd be nice?
What?
If that Obie should get malaria now.
Yeah. He'd be helpless.
He'd ask me for quinine. I'd throw him a stone.
On we went. Now there were no boot marks with the mule tracks. Apparently O'Brien was riding one of the animals. From time to time we'd see a flurry of tracks churned up as though he had had to dismount to tug one of the beasts back onto the trail. We followed the tracks for another 2 days, and then on the 6th day, we found one of the mules.
How you feeling, boy? Huh? Where's your saddle?
He really looks beat. Look at those marks on his flanks.
Vampire bats.
Yeah.
That leaves O'Brien on foot.
Yeah.
Hey, you hear that?
Hey, it's the launch. We're to the river. He's starting the motor. Come on.
It wasn't very far, just a few hundred yards, and the path was strewn with O'Brien's discarded supplies. Quite suddenly, we came out of the jungle and onto a narrow white sandbar. The river. And there, not 30 feet away from us, just drifting off into the deep, dark, fast-moving waters, was O'Brien in the launch. O'Brien!
Beat you! I beat you up!
Look at him. He's like a skeleton.
Obie! Wait for us, Obie!
The launch lurched dizzily as it floated downstream. O'Brien was feeble, sweating, possessed. He had the fever, had it bad.
Come on, let's go after him.
You can't. This is piranha water.
Cannibal fish, they'll eat you, Happy.
Yeah.
Hey, Obie! Hey, you know me, Obie! Your old pal, Hesse! Hey, what do you say, Obie, huh?
He staggered dizzily about the cockpit, trying to start the engine. He was laughing, and he was so weak that he could barely spin the flywheel to the kicker.
Obie!
He slipped!
Good Lord, he's in the water!
The fish, the piranhas!
They got him!
I ain't gonna look at this! One moment we saw him swimming weakly, his large, fever-ridden eyes turned imploringly toward us, and the next moment he was gone, leaving only a large red churning patch on the water. The piranhas are small, rarely more than 12 or 14 inches long, small fish with large, powerful jaws, teeth like broken glass, and an insatiable, maniacal appetite for flesh. The launch, caught by the deep, fast-moving waters, rocked softly this way and that and moved on downstream. Away. Away around a bend and out of sight.
Pleasant thoughts for a Thursday, isn't it? From 72 years ago, June 30th, 1950, Bloodbath, starring Vincent Price, an episode of Escape. The news from 72 years ago in Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox continues.
No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secrets to lose 3 to 5 pounds a week easily without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt by Med Diet. For the last 2 decades, we've been helping people just like you that have pounds they want to shed. We've helped millions of people lose thousands and thousands of pounds over the years. And now it's your turn. Learn the secrets of how to lose weight with one simple phone call. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a money-back guarantee. If you're ready to start losing weight right now, call right now to learn more about your risk-free order to Body Sculpt.
Call for your risk-free offer. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. That's 800-738-5332.
Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt. Your shoulder hurts. Your elbow and back are constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore. Am I right? Well, here's something you haven't tried. Pain Magic. Pain Magic is not available at any drugstore. The only place you can get it is by calling the special toll-free number I'm about to give you.
And to make things even better, call right now and find out about our buy one, get one free offer. We're so confident it'll work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase. No prescription required.
Call now to learn how you can get Pain Magic and get rid of your pain. Remember, your results may vary.
800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. 800-492-8164. That's 800-492-8164.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox here on your favorite radio station. We're listening to an episode of Escape, Bloodbath, starring Vincent Price, as it was originally broadcast on Friday, June 30th, 1950, in the newspapers of that Friday 72 years ago. These were some of the headlines. Russia refused last night to use her influence to bring peace to Korea, where American-supported forces from the South have stabilized the front against the communist invaders. South Korea's military fortunes had so improved that it appeared American warplanes and warships might turn the tide without the aid of U.S. forces. Both the South and North Koreans were regrouping on the important central front of Red-captured Seoul. A counterattack by the Southerners drove the North Koreans from the capital's Gimpo airport. American warships and B-29 bombers thundered into action in force. The bombers blasted the communists from the airfield, and the warships battered beachheads on both the east and west coasts of the peninsula. But late reports said North Korean tanks had broken the Han River line and were moving west towards Suwon, 20 miles south of Seoul, the headquarters of General MacArthur's military mission and the South Korean High Army Command. Meanwhile, Communist Radio Berlin and Soviet-controlled ADN news agency told the Germans yesterday that General Douglas MacArthur left South Korea in the greatest haste after he learned the North Korean army was only a few kilometers from headquarters of the American intervention headquarters. General MacArthur's key officers hastened preparations yesterday to use the ships and planes of three nations in intensified attacks on communist positions in South Korea. Authoritative sources said MacArthur already had accepted the offer of Great Britain and Australia to use their naval units, including aircraft carriers. He's also studying the uses of land-based Australian planes from Japan. The Senate Atomic Energy Committee voted 5-4 yesterday against confirming Sumner T. Pike to a new 4-year term on the Atomic Energy Commission, of which he is acting chairman. President Truman expressed amazement at the committee's action. He said Pike had been one of the ablest members of the AEC. The committee should take another look and another vote, he told his news conference. The committee's adverse recommendation goes to the Senate itself, which has the final say on confirmation of presidential appointees. Almost invariably, however, the Senate follows the recommendation of its committees, which consider such appointments. Rural citadels of Governor Herman Talmadge's white supremacy regime came through yesterday to make his triumph complete in Georgia's Democratic primary. From the first returns Wednesday night, Talmadge held a whopping renomination margin in county votes, the decisive factor under Georgia's unique election system. But through 16 hours of mounting reports, the Red Galoose defender of Southern traditions had trailed, scrapping former Governor M.E. Thompson in popular votes. Yesterday afternoon, he swung into a slim lead in that column, too. The victory left Georgia firmly under the banner of a governor who vows he will never permit mixing of the races in a period of growing pressure to end racial segregation. President Truman said yesterday there is not a word of truth in Senator Taft's charge that the president reversed Secretary of State Aitchison in sending military aid to Korea, permitting direct quotation of his reply to Taft's speech in the Senate. The president told his news conference, "I think the political statement of Taft at this time is uncalled for." Well, with the price of steak, hamburger, and chops skyrocketing, science offers new evidence that you don't have to be a meat eater to remain healthy. At the present price of meat, you'll probably remain wealthier by not eating it too. Evidence based on a study of 11 persons who ate no meat for many years. One was on his diet for 47 years. The report comes from Dr. Leonora Mironi of the Nutrition Department of the University of Georgia at Athens. One subject was a woodman who went on the no-meat diet when 26. At 73, he's healthier. Other subjects and the number of years they did it without meat, including a 37-year long hauler, a cook, 32 years, 23-year gardener, a 20-year baker, a 16-year teacher, 14-year plumber, and a 12-year painter. And those some of the day's top news stories as reported in the newspapers of Friday, June 30th, 1950, on your Radio Escape, which continues in a moment on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Are you suffering with arthritis or osteoporosis? Do you have diabetes? Did you know that these are just two of the hundreds of diseases that have seen improvement with Dr. Wallach's incredible longevity products? You can't get them at a health food store. The only way to get them is to call us at 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Do you have heart disease, fibromyalgia, or high blood pressure? Do you have a terrible time losing weight? Dr. Wallach can help. He was a veterinarian and cured diseases in animals. He felt that he could do the same for humans, so he became a physician. Over 50 years of research and helping people like you goes into every bottle of Dr. Wallach's amazing discoveries. Do you want to feel better? Learn how to treat the cause of your problem rather than covering up the symptoms with drugs. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065.
We wrap up this week of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox with another episode of I Was a Communist for the FBI from 69 years ago, July 1st, 1953, 15 minutes to murder. Sovietics sent to a hospital for a rest cure and to murder a man. That's coming up on Friday's Classic Radio Theater. But now the conclusion of Escape. Vincent Price starring in Bloodbath, June 30th, 1950, 72 years ago today.
And now we return you to Escape, starring Vincent Price.
We picked over the supplies O'Brien had left on the shore. There wasn't much we wanted. A gun without ammunition, a few tins of food, a tent and some bedding, cooking equipment, a coil of rope. We loaded these things onto the mule and set off through the jungle, downstream along the river's course. 1,500 miles to civilization. We had it tough. The jungle was thick along the river's bank, and we made little progress. Not more than 5 miles that day, but the next day, we rounded a bend, keeping close to the shore, and there, about a quarter mile below us and nuzzling the opposite shore, grounded on the sand, lay the launch.
Looks shallow enough here.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, but what about the fish?
How deep does it look to you, Harris, at the deepest spot, I mean?
Oh, I don't know, maybe 2.5 feet, maybe 3.
Most of it's less than that.
I got an idea.
Shoot.
We got to get across the launch, see? So here's what we do. We throw away everything. There'll be food and water in the launch, see?
Yeah?
Now, you see that little patch of sand in the middle of the river where the bar shows?
Yeah.
We go that way. That's bound to be the shallowest way, see?
How do we go?
On the mule, the three of us.
Ah, you're nuts.
This mule ain't in such bad condition it can't get the three of us across 70 feet of shallow water.
What do you say, Harris?
Why not?
All right, I'll get aboard first. Come on.
Get farther up, Weemsy. You're the lightest.
Yeah.
Harris, you get on next. Hang on to Weemsy. Here. Carry this coil of rope around your neck. We may need it. I've got the machete strapped to my back.
Hey, you set, Weems?
Yeah.
Now hold tight to me, Hess.
Don't worry. If I go, you go too.
Yeah, and if he goes, I go.
So let's hang on, gents. Yeah. Let's really hang on.
As long as he's moving fast, he can't get at his legs. Ain't that right?
He's not showing anything to him but hoofs and hair.
Hold his head up, Weems. Don't let him look down.
Now, you all set?
Yeah, all set.
All right, here we go. All right, get off. Come on.
Come on, baby.
I felt the mule lurch when he stepped into the water. The sand was softer here than on the shore.
Sand, huh?
Ahead, not 40 feet away, lay the little spit of land. The mule refused to run, couldn't run, and before he'd taken 10 steps, I knew he was too weak to support the three of us. From every direction in the swirling water about us came small, shadowy, dark shapes.
Come on.
The piranhas.
Don't stop. Come on, baby. Keep moving, baby. Come on. Move along, baby.
He can't do it.
You gotta do it, baby.
Come on.
Sweet mother. What are those?
The piranhas were churning the water about us, and coming in from beyond them were 4 or 5 long, dark shapes, 6 and 7 feet long, thick and wriggling.
Eels, electric eels.
They'll sting him. Get along to the bar.
Get him to the sandbar.
Faster. Come on.
Made it.
It's true about electric eels. They can throw a jolt that'll kill a jaguar. They got jaws like a vice.
So, here we are, gentlemen, stuck. Just 30 feet of water between us and the shore. Get across it, and we can get to the launch and to civilization and all the rest.
Oh, the three of us are too much for that mule.
Only 30 feet. Why, you could run it in seconds.
You see those little shadows around us in the water?
I see those little shadows around us. You don't have to draw pictures.
Hey.
Oh, here's another bright idea coming up.
As a matter of fact, yeah.
Yeah, hold on to your hat, Harris.
We got that coil of rope.
Yes.
The mule could carry one of us. That mule's not in such bad shape, you know.
Yes.
Tie the rope over his bridle. Then one of us pulls him over with him fast, you see. One rides, and then the other two pull him back.
Yeah?
And the next one gets on.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Oh, he can't stay here.
It's a natural.
Who goes first?
Me, on account I'm the lightest. I won't tire him so much.
How about it, Harris?
All right.
Well, get going then.
Okay. Tie that rope to his bridle.
I'm doing it.
All right, give me the machete.
What do you want the machete for?
I want it, that's all. Give me.
No. Okay.
All right,
Here.
now you two get at the end of the spit. So as when you pay out the line, you don't get it caught in his legs.
Well, you think of everything.
That's right. I'm a smart boy.
Ready with the line.
You sure it's tied fast to the bridle?
Yeah, I'm sure.
No funny business, Weems. All we gotta do is jerk this rope once while you're over that water and you're done for.
You're a sharp article.
Yeah, that's right.
But not sharp enough.
Hey, Weems, you cut the rope!
So long, sucker!
The rope. Our only salvation was cut. And now Weems, grinning and riding, was out into the stream, heading for the shore and safe. He went not 15 feet when one of the long, dark, wriggling shapes made for the mule and got his leg. The mule reared up on his hind legs, the eel clinging to his foot, pumping paralyzing shocks into him. Weems clutched his neck with one hand and slapped him on the flank with the flat of the machete with the other. The mule came down, and more eels went for his legs. He began to lurch sideways. Weems swung the long steel blade in an arc, barely missing the mule's leg, and connected with one of the eels. His hair seemed to stand on end. His other arm released the mule's neck. The arm holding the blade was extended stiffly, still caught in the thick, muscular back of the electric eel. And then the mule reared again, and Weems fell back into the water. The mule, freed of Weems, made the shore and vanished into the jungle. We turned away. No man could watch what was happening to Weems and retain his sanity. And so, there we were, Hess and I, on that sand spit which the river was slowly washing away. Night coming, the vampire bats coming, and all about us, the electric eels and the little cannibal fish waiting. There was no moon. There were evil stars, red and yellow. There was a black sky, and against it blacker shapes, the vampire bats. We waved our arms and kept them off, but again and again during that long and terrible night, they brushed against us, squealing and squeaking, trying to get us. Dark, evil, thirsting bats. A 1,000 years later came the dawn.
That water's taken a lot of sand away. This thing isn't much bigger than a card table. Look at them. Look at those fish. You'd think they had enough to eat yesterday. Listen, Harris. No matter what happens now, at least you and I have played it square, right?
Yeah, that's right, Hess.
Shake my hand, Harris.
All right.
Because I think I got an idea on how we can get out of here.
What?
Yeah. Look up there.
Yeah.
See that vine hanging down from the big tree?
It's over the water, and it must be 15 feet up.
Yeah, but if you were on it, you could do a Tarzan to the shore.
The rope?
That's right. Now, if we can just lasso the end of that and pull tight, we'll have enough swing to make it across. Swing like a pendulum, if you follow me. One guy gets on the other's shoulders to swing over to get the start, see? Then when he gets to shore, he fastens a rock and swings the rope back to the other.
That vine will hold. It'll work. It took us 2 hours before we managed to lasso the end of that vine. And then we tested it again and again until we were positive it would hold a man's weight. And then we were ready.
You stand good and steady now, pal. I'm going to go easy on you, but don't shake. Because if you spill me in that water, I'm a gone guy.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Good luck.
Here.
I felt his feet leave my shoulders, and then he was off, skimming the water with his feet drawn up, and then, miraculously, he was on the shore. Good boy! Good boy!
Yeah!
Like a breeze, huh?
Like a breeze.
Hey, any rocks around there?
Sorry.
He smiled at me and shrugged, and then looked down the stream at the launch. I knew that smile, that $1 trillion smile. It said, "So long, sucker." Don't do it, Hess. Send me the rope.
You're too nice a guy, Harris. You and I would never get along.
You can have it all, Hess. Every scrap of it. Only for the love of mercy, send me the rope.
No, you'd want some. You wouldn't approve of what I mean to do with it.
Hess! He stood there laughing at me and shaking his head slowly. But above him, just over his head, was another vine, thick and mottled, and it was moving. Look out, Hess! Hess! He didn't understand or didn't hear me. Just stood there smiling and shaking his head. The boa constrictor dropped heavily and accurately, a thrashing tangle of scaly muscles. The sun was hot, blistering hot. I was alone, all alone, except for the ever-waiting piranhas. Hess's body was hidden by the low, scrubby vines and palmettos. Several hours later, I saw the boa, now gorged, slither lumpily away. I waited, and I waited. From time to time, I thought of stepping out into the stream. It would be over very quickly, I told myself, very quickly. But I couldn't. And then I noticed an odd thing. The current which had been sweeping the sand away had shifted slightly. A whim, a miracle. And now new sand from some sunken bar was beginning to pile up between me and the shore, grain by grain, rib by rib. I watched this. And I watched. And I watched. And at 5 o'clock that afternoon, I walked ashore to the lodge. And didn't even get my feet wet. It's nice where I live. Quiet little streets, nice people, nice kids, nice country. Peaceful. Nice peace. I know where there's enough uranium to blow it all to hell. Want it? Just go up the river. Up the river, it's for the taking. Ask Dumont and Obie and Weems and Hess. $1 trillion worth. Enough to give the whole world a bloodbath. Yourself included.
Warm summer weather makes you think of baseball games, picnics, and holiday driving. But be sure your car's ready when you are. Get Richfield All-Point Safety Service, the service that puts your car in top shape for warm weather driving. With Richfield All-Point Safety Service, you get a careful all-point lubrication job that protects the chassis, transmission, and differential. You get lubricants that stick to your car's ribs no matter what the temperature. You get the protection of Rich Lube, all-weather motor oil, the Pennsylvania premium-grade oil that cleans as it lubricates. You also get a safety check of batteries, spark plugs, tires, and radiator, and expert service if your car has automatic transmission. The Richfield gasoline dealer is specially trained to protect your car against wear and breakdown. So get Richfield All-Point Safety Service tomorrow. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps. Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight starred Mr. Vincent Price. Bloodbath was written by James Poe. Others in the cast were Wally Mayer, Ted DeCorsia, Paul Frees, and Tony Barrett. Special music arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars.
From 72 years ago, June 30th, 1950, Escape on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank this station. Support their advertisers. It's their kindness and courtesy that we're here each and every Thursday at this time on your favorite station. Now, would you also visit my webpage, classicradio.stream? You can stream our shows on demand there. You can learn about classic radio collecting. We also have a list of all the places you can download our shows via podcast. And you can contact me there. Our social media links are there. And you can also buy me a coffee. Now, I don't drink coffee, but the Buy Me a Coffee function allows me to have a little extra spare pocket change to purchase some of these great classic radio theater shows. Or maybe buy me a Dr. Pepper, I don't know. Whichever it goes. Anyway, that website, classicradio.stream. And please do me a favor and tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on your radio dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.